Hi guys, so we're going to go over the semester 2 review part 1. Okay, so number 1 says identify the property of equality that justifies the missing step to solve the given equation. So we have to look at what part we're missing. So we're missing this step right here. Okay, and so what it's asking us to do is we need to look at the equation right before it to see how we got to this spot. Okay, so we look at 4x plus 8 equals 84, and then from there we got 4x equals 76. So how did we get from the equation 2 to equation 3? Okay, so it looks like we subtracted 8 from both sides, so that property would be the subtraction property of equality. Okay. Number 2, it says, what is the solution to the equation 5x minus 3 times the quantity 5x plus 10 minus 14 equals 82 minus 12? So we have to solve for x. That's our goal. So right here, I see that I could already distribute the negative 3 into the parentheses. And remember, the order of operations tells us to do parentheses first. So after we do that, we're going to get 5x. And then negative 3 times 5x is going to give me negative 15x. Negative 3 times 10 is negative 30. And then we just bring everything else down as is. And so on the left side of my equal sign, I see that I can combine some like terms. I see that I can combine 5x minus 15. And that's going to go ahead and give me a negative 10x. And then I could do negative 30 minus 14. Okay, and remember, when they're the same sign, you add and keep the sign. So that's going to give me a negative 44. And then again, just bring down everything else as is. Now we could start moving terms to the other sides, to their corresponding parts. So I'm going to go ahead and add 12x to both sides. Okay, that's going to give me 2x minus 44 equal 82. And now I can add 44 to both sides. And that's going to give me 2x equals 126. When I divide both sides by 2, that gives me x equals 63. And that's going to be my final answer. Okay, for number 3, what is the solution to the inequality 11x plus 9 is greater than or equal to 10x minus 5? Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite this. So same thing, we just have to move the corresponding terms to the other sides, or to their corresponding sides. So I'm going to subtract 10x here. That's going to give me x plus 9 is greater than or equal to negative 5. I can go ahead and subtract 9. And that's going to give me x is greater than or equal to negative 14. For number 4, what is the solution to the inequality 14x minus 4 is greater than or equal to 3 times the quantity 9 plus 5x? So again, I know that right away I have to distribute. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this first. You don't have to rewrite it, I just am to give me more space. Okay, so first off, I'm going to go ahead and distribute the 3. But first, I can go ahead and bring the 14x minus 4 is greater than or equal to down. And when I do 3 times 9, that's going to give me 27. And then 3 times 5x will give me plus 15x. So then let's go ahead and subtract 15 on both sides. The 15x, I'm sorry. So that's going to give me a negative x minus 4 is greater than or equal to 27. I can add 4 to both sides, and that'll give me negative x is greater than or equal to 31. And remember, when I have a negative sign in front of a variable, that means I can divide both sides by a negative 1, because that's technically a that's technically a 1 in front of the x. So I'm going to go ahead and divide -1 on both sides. But the important part to remember is we're dealing with an inequality here. And when we have an inequality symbol and I divide or multiply by a negative, that means that I have to switch that inequality sign. So when I divide, I get x, and then we're going to flip the sign to be less than or equal to now. And that's just going to give me -31, because +31 divided by -1 is -31. So x is less than or equal to -31 is my final answer. For 5, what is the solution to the equation 7 to the x equals 343? So we just have to think about 7x equals 343. We have to think about, okay, 7 to the what power is going to give me 343? So what we can do, we can go ahead, take our base, okay, 7 to the x equals, and then we find the same base, but 7 to the what power is going to give me 343. So then I can pull out my calculator here, okay, and you can, oops, give me a sec, and you can kind of just play around with this. 7 squared, 49, that's not big enough. 7 to the third, okay, that gives me 343. So I know that this is going to be 7 to the third power, and so that tells me, okay, x is going to equal 3 because that is the exponent that I need to get 7 to what power gives me 343. So x equals 3. Okay, for number 6 says, which graph represents the solution to this system? So we have 3x plus y equals -10, and then we have -x plus 3 equals 0. So first we want to go ahead and put these into slope-intercept form. So for the first one, this is going to be y equals -3x minus 10. And then the second one is going to be, it's going to give me, if I move the x to the other side first, divide both sides by 3, y is going to equal 1/3x. So those are my two equations that I'm working with now. So a helpful tool to use to figure out which graph represents it is to find the slope and y-intercept. So the slope for the first one is -3, and the y-intercept is -10. For the second one, my slope is 1/3, but I don't have that plus b part. So my y-intercept is just 0. Okay, so one helpful tool first to look for, we should look for the y-intercepts first. So if I look at A does give me, okay, sure, both intercepts are at 0, 0 and -10. Okay, for B, 0, -10 as well. C, 0, -10, but D is actually at +10 and 0. So right away, I can go ahead and cross off D as answer choice. Okay. Then we have to look at the slopes. So if I zoom in on A, I can go ahead and I can pick a point. We could just go ahead and pick the point 0, 0. And then this point looks to be about on the grid. And that line, since that's at 0, 0, that's going to be my blue line. Okay. I probably could actually pick a better point. Let me pick a better point. I could pick right here. I'm sorry. That's actually a closer point, which would alleviate some of the issues of reducing. So if I go ahead and look at the distance between those 2 points, I could go up 1 and over 3. And remember, up is +1 and over to the right is positive, and that's 3, okay? So remember, up or down deals with the numerator, left or right deals with the denominator. And now let's go ahead and look at the other line to see if the slope matches up, and we want a slope of -3. Okay, so let's go ahead and pick 2 good points for that one. We could start at -10, okay? And then this looks to be about a good point as well. So we go up 3, which is positive, But then to the left one gives me a -1, and that just reduces to be -3. And those two slopes actually right off the bat match our slopes to our answer, so our answer for 6 is going to be A. Okay, so number 7 then.